Hello students, I'm back with another helpful video for you. Today we'll be studying planning. Hope you are liking my videos and sharing with others for the benefit, right? Let us start with the planning today. We are going to study the following topics, that is concept of planning, importance, limitations, process and various types of plans. So let us start with the concept of planning. To decide what to do, how to do, when to do and who will do is the basics of planning, right? Any government, private business or small businessman require planning. They want to turn their dreams of increasing in sales, earning high profit, getting success in business. So all businessmen have to think about future, making predictions and achieving the targets. So what is the meaning of planning? In simple words, it is a process of thinking in advance before doing. It bridges the gap between where we are and where we want to be. It involves determination of goals as well as the activities required to be taken to achieve the goals. It is also known for matching the resources with opportunities. You can make the small flow chart of this, which is being shown on the screen, in order to explain the meaning of planning. So these are the various definitions of planning given by various management gurus, right? You can form your own definition also. Here are the keywords for the planning. It is thinking in advance, it involves choice, it selecting an alternative, primary function, base of all functions, it is standard for controlling and bringing in innovative ideas. Now what are the features or nature or characteristics of planning? The first one is it contributes to objectives, it is primary function of management, it is pervasive in nature, it involves decision making, it is continuous, it is futuristic / forward looking, and it's a mental exercise. So these are various features or characteristics of planning. Let us understand them one by one. So how does it contribute towards objectives? Determination of objectives is the primary condition of planning after the goals have been set. It cannot be thought of in the absence of objectives. Once the objectives are fixed, the next step is to determine the steps which are to be followed to achieve those objectives. Second one, it's a primary function of management. It lays down the base for other functions of management. All other managerial functions are performed within the framework of the plans which are made. Thus, planning precedes other functions, that is organizing, staffing, directing and controlling. All the various functions of management are interrelated and equally important. However, planning provides the basis of all other functions. It is pervasive in nature, means it is required at all levels of the management of organization. It is neither an exclusive function of top management nor of any particular division or department. Every individual in his or her own individual capacity makes planning to a certain limit within his or her scope of authority. The next feature is it involves decision making. So planning cannot be imagined in the absence of alternatives. If there are alternatives, then there is a need to evaluate them and then selecting the best one for implementation. There is no need for planning if there is only one way of doing something. It's a continuous process. Environment changes so fast that if we continue with the single best way of doing things, just like the rule of thumb, then we will be losing the market. So every business organization has to remain in touch with the changing environment and continue to make changes as and when required. Futuristics, forward looking. It involves looking ahead and preparing for the future. The purpose of planning is to meet future events effectively and efficiently to the best advantage of an organization. It is never done for the past but done for the future. The last one is mental exercise. So it is a mental process and therefore job of planning must be separated from operational work as suggested by Taylor. Planning is an outcome of mental exercise involving imagination, foresight and sound judgment. This is neither guesswork nor wishful thinking. It is thinking rather than doing, which must be based on past experiences, logical reasoning, facts and forecasts. So these are the various features or characteristics of planning. So here are the keywords for the features of planning, which will help you to solve the case studies and identifying the features of planning in the case study. So what is the importance of planning? The first point is planning provides direction. It ensures that the goals and objectives are clearly stated so that they act as a guide for deciding what action should be taken and in which direction. Reduces risk of uncertainty. Planning is necessary because the future is uncertain and changeable. One can hardly be certain about future events. However, by forcing managers to look ahead, anticipate change, develop appropriate responses, planning reduces uncertainty. It reduces overlapping and wasteful activities. It coordinates the activities of all divisions, departments, and individuals. It ensures clarity of thoughts and action. If all are working according to plan, it will reduce the overlapping and wasteful activities. It promotes innovative ideas. So planning is thinking in advance, and therefore there is a scope of finding better and different methods and procedures to achieve the desired objectives. Under planning, new ideas take the shape of concrete plans. It helps the organization in deciding how to maintain its competitive edge in the market. Planning facilitates decision making. Definitely, it helps the manager to look into the future and make a choice from amongst various alternative courses of action. The manager has to evaluate each alternative and thus take the most rational or scientific decision. It establishes standard for controlling. So plans provide goals or standards for controlling employees' performance against which actual performance is measured. By comparing the actual performance with some standards, managers can determine whether they have actually been able to attain the goals or not. So here are the keywords for the importance of planning, which will help you to solve the case studies and identify the pointers related to importance of planning from the case studies. What are the limitations of planning? So planning leads to rigidity, right? Once plans are made to decide the future course of action, the manager may not be in a position to change them. In other words, planning is inflexible and cannot be changed completely. Planning may not work in dynamic environment. We all know that the business environment is dynamic, where nothing is consistent. The environment consists of a number of dimensions such as economic, political, technological, legal, and social factors. The organizations have to adapt themselves constantly to the changes in environment. It becomes difficult to assess the future trends accurately in the environment if changes in the dimensions of business environment take place. So planning may not work in dynamic environment. Planning reduces creativity. It is not very flexible in reality as big changes cannot be made through it. If all goes well, managers have to blindly follow the same plan without any deviation. As a result, even if they come across any new innovative method, they are not permitted to apply the same in the existing plans. Planning involves huge cost. It involves lot of cost because it's an intellectual process and companies need to hire the professional experts to carry on this process. Along with the salary of these experts, the company has to spend a lot of time and money to collect accurate facts and figures in order to make some decisions. If the benefits of planning are not more than its cost, then it should not be carried out. Planning is a time-consuming process. It consumes a lot of time in thinking, analyzing the situation, finding various alternatives for doing a particular work, developing the planning premises, that is possibilities, and then finding the best feasible and applicable alternative. Due to such long process, sometimes decisions get delayed, opportunities are lost, and there is not much time left for their implementation. So planning is a time-consuming process. Planning does not guarantee success. The success of an enterprise is possible only when plans are properly drawn up and implemented, otherwise plans formulated become meaningless. Moreover, managers have a tendency to rely on previously tried and tested successful plans and do not bother to draw new plans. So what are the external limitations of planning? Any natural calamity, change in competitors' policies, change in taste, fashion and trend in the market, change in technologies, change in government or economic policy. All these comprise of as external limitations of planning. So what is the conclusion? The above points show that planning is not a substitute for success of an organization, but it suffers from many limitations. But it does not mean that managers should not perform planning function. Rather, they should perform planning function, keeping in mind the limitations of planning and then try to overcome these limitations. So here are the keywords for limitations of planning and will be very useful for you in solving the case studies and identifying the limitations of planning from the case studies. So this is one of the very important topic of this chapter, that is process of planning. And one advice to you is that we will never miss the sequence of the pointers, right? The process has to be followed in the manner in which it is being explained. We cannot renumber them, right? We have to follow a sequential order in order to present the process of planning. So first point is setting up the objectives, developing premises, identifying various alternatives, evaluation, then selecting, then implementing, and then follow-up action. So here 3 of the pointers are related to alternatives only. That is, first identify them, then evaluate each alternative, then select the alternative. Okay, so let us start with the process of planning. So first and the foremost step is setting objectives. Every organization must have certain objectives, right? It shall be set for the entire organization and each department or unit within the organization. Objectives or goals specify what the organization wants to achieve. It could mean, as an example, increase in sales by 20%, which could be objective of entire organization. Second is developing the premises. It means the assumptions, bases, or ideas about the future, right? These are some assumptions which are based upon some of the material facts and figures. These bases may be in the form of past performance, forecasting, competitors' policies, market trends, etc., around which we try to develop the future plan. Identifying the various alternatives. Now there are different alternative ways through which an organization can achieve the desired objective. In this step, a list of alternatives is prepared so that there is flexibility in selecting the one which will be best suited for the particular organization. Then comes evaluation of different alternatives. After making a list, we will evaluate all the different alternatives and note down positive and negative aspects in the light of feasibility, consequences, and objectives to be achieved. Then we will select an alternative which is the most feasible, profitable, with least negative impacts is selected. Sometimes, if required, a combination of different alternatives can also be selected. Then we will be implementing the plans, mean putting together the plans into action. That is what is required to be done. The managers communicate the plans to the employees very clearly and allocate the resources according to the specification of the plans. Then comes follow-up action. Monitoring the plan constantly and taking feedback at regular intervals is called follow-up. Managers do not wait for the production cycle to get over. Regular checks and comparison of the output with set standards are done to ensure success in the uncertain future. In case of any deviations, quick changes are made. So these are the keywords for the process of planning in order to help you to understand the steps of the process from the case studies. Now we'll try to understand various plans. So plan is a document that outlines how goals are going to be met. It is a specific action proposed to help organization achieve its objectives. There may be more than one way and means of reaching a particular goal, but with the help of logical plans, objectives of an organization could be easily achieved. So there are 2 types, single use plans and standing use plans. So single use plans are one-time use plan. These are designed to achieve a particular goal that once achieved will not reoccur in future. These are made to meet the needs of unique situations. The duration of length and single plan depend upon the activity or goal for which it is made. It may last one day or it may last for weeks or months if the project for which it is made is long. Standing plans are also known as repeat use plans. These plans focus on situations which occur repeatedly. Standing plans are used over and over again. They are made once but retain their value over a period of years, although some revisions and updates are made in these plans from time to time. So what are the features of plans? Single use plans are used only once. They are prepared to meet the demand of specific situation. These are discarded when the situation is over. Every time a new plan is prepared for new situation, example, budget, program, projects. Standing plans, these are recurring plans used for an indefinite period. Standing plans are stable in nature. These plans act as guidelines for smooth functioning of the organization. Example, policy, procedure, rules, methods, etc. So here is the difference between single use and standing plan for your reference. Now various types of plans. There are 8 type of plans: objectives, policies, methods, programs, strategy, procedures, rules, and budgets. So objectives is a type of plan which is neither single use nor standing plan. Now this can be asked in the MCQ format, right? So objectives are the plans which are neither single use nor standing plan. Objectives should be SMART as specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. Increase in sale by 10% in 6 months as an example of objective. Features: it determine what is to be done, is the end result of planning. All activities are guided towards objectives. It serves as guide for overall business planning. These are set up by top level management. Second is strategy, which is also neither single use nor standing plan. Is a comprehensive plan to achieve the organizational objectives. It is a task of top level and it is must to scan and understand clearly the business environment before framing the strategy. It defines the future decisions regarding the organizational direction and scope in the long run. For example, choice of advertising media, sales promotion techniques, etc. can be referred to as strategy. There are 3 dimensions of strategy, and this can be asked in a form of a case study to identify the various dimensions of strategy from the case study. So determining long-term objectives is the first step. Adopting a particular course of action is the second. Allocating resources for achieving the objectives. So these are 3 dimensions of strategy. Features of strategy: it is a blueprint of business and provides outline of business. It is influenced by business environment. It directs future decision making and scope in the long run. Now let us discuss some of the standing plans. Policies: it is based on the strategy and can be defined as organizational general response or solution to a particular problem or situation. Now this is very, very important. Okay, policy is based on the strategy and can be defined as organizational general response or solution to a particular problem or situation. Example can be dividend policy, sales promotion policy, policy on salary, promotion, marketing policy, price policy, etc. Then come procedure, which is also a standing plan. It tells us the exact manner in which an activity must be performed. A procedure provides step-by-step hints or instructions which have to be followed in the same order. These are generally rigid and almost have no scope for discretion. Sometimes the procedure to handle a particular task may involve many departments at the same time. In such a case, all departments must be aware of the entire procedure to understand the importance and sequence of their involvement in. For example, there is a procedure for admission in a school which can be different for different schools, but procedure for admission in a school is an example of a standing plan. Policies and procedures are interlinked with each other. Another standing plan is methods. Methods provide the prescribed ways or manner in which a task has to be performed. It deals with a task comprising one step of procedure and specifies how a particular step has to be performed. Methods may vary from task to task. For example, imparting training at higher level orientation program or lecture method may be adopted, whereas at supervisory level on the job training method may be adopted. These are example of methods. So another standing plan is rules. They spell out special actions or non-actions of the employees. There is no discretion allowed in rules, that is, they must be followed strictly, and if rules are not followed, then strict actions can be taken against employees who are disobeying the rules. Rules may be in the form of smoking cigarette in the premises prohibited, littering or spitting is a punishable offense. So these are some examples of rules. Let us discuss single-use plan. Programs is one of the single-use plan. These are combination of goals, objectives, policies, procedures, rules, tasks, assignments, steps to be taken, resources to be employed, and other elements necessary to carry out a given course of action. They are ordinarily supported by budgets. So basically, sum of plans is equal to program. Programs include the entire gamut or range of the activities as well as the organization policy and how it will contribute to the overall business plan. For example, construction of a shopping mall, opening of a new department, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan by Indian government. These are some of the example of programs. So another single use plan is budget. A budget is a plan which is expressed in measurable and monetary terms. In other words, budget describes the desired results in numerical terms. The budget is also a fundamental planning instrument which also helps in controlling. We may have many kinds of budgets like sales budget, cash budget, capital budget, production budget, master budget, sum of all budgets, etc. A budget helps a company in making plans in advance and achieve them within the specified time. So whenever we prepare a budget, it is related to planning, and when we use it as a tool to measure the deviation, it becomes controlling. So here are few of the differences between various plans which can be asked in the question paper. So you can go through them at your own pace. I have listed them all here for your help. So this is the difference between procedure and methods, difference between policies and rules, methods and rules, strategy and policy. And these are some of the case studies for your reference. For example, Lakshmi Chemicals Limited, a soap manufacturing company, wanted to increase its market share from so and so in the long run. A recent report submitted by the R&D of the company had predicted a growing trend of herbal and organic products. On the basis of this report, the company decided to diversify into new variety of soaps. The USP was to promote eco-friendly living. The company decided to allocate rupees 230 crores to achieve the objectives. To identify one of the type of functions of management which will help the company to acquire dominant position in the market. So it's clearly a strategy which is being discussed in the case study. So this is another case study for your help, right? First of all, we'll understand the question which has been asked. Quoting lines from the above paragraph, identify and explain the different type of plans discussed, right? So this is how we can answer this question. The first plan is objectives, and the line is one of our objectives was to earn 10% profit. Then there is policy. It was decided that the raw materials like fruits, vegetables, spices, etc. will be purchased on 3 months credit, right? Then comes method, the exact manner in which the production activities are to be carried out. Procedure, she also decided to follow the steps. Now these are the keywords: steps required for marketing of the products through our own outlets. Rule, while working on the production table, a penalty of rupees 100 per day for not wearing caps. So this is some kind of rule, right? So this is how we identify various plans from the case studies. So this is another case study, and we are being asked to identify the limitation. Now here Rahul, a worker, is given a target of assembling 2 computers per day. Due to his habit of doing things differently, an idea struck him but would also reduce the cost. Rahul's supervisor, instead of appreciating him, ordered him to complete the work as per the methods and techniques decided earlier, as nothing could be changed at that stage. So it reduces creativity. So this is one of the very important case study regarding the strategy and identifying the various dimensions of strategy, right? Electronic companies facing a problem of declining market share due to increased competition from other new and existing players, right? For quality companies introducing a new model. For this, the company raises extra funds. So we can understand that strategy is being discussed, and the steps involved in preparing this plan are determining long-term objectives, adopting a particular course of action, allocating resources necessary to achieve the objectives. So here is another example of a case study, right? Explain any 2 limitations of planning highlighted in the above case, right? So planning is a time consuming process. ABC Limited has devoted a lot of time and money to its plan, very clear. Planning also involves huge cost. The competition starts increasing, so he could change in plan to beat it because huge amount of money had already been devoted. Planning leads to rigidity. Following a pre-decided plan when circumstances changes may not turn out to be in the organization's interest. So thank you so much, right? And please subscribe to my channel, like, share and comment. And once again, thank you so much for watching this video. I'll be back with another helpful video for you.